Hi, I'm Graham Steele, CEO and founder of Cryptosense, and today we're going to talk about modernizing the cryptography in legacy Java applications, particularly those that are running in application servers like Weblogic, Websphere or Tomcat. So let's talk about legacy Java applications. So every big enterprise has a number of these applications which are generating a huge amount of their business value. Applications that were written from the web in the period since the web started really taking off at the end of the 90s right through till now. They're often written in Java and they often use web application frameworks. So these are collections of middleware, libraries, other components that help to build a Java web application and administer and run it in an efficient way. And three of the most popular are IBM's Websphere product, Oracle's Weblogic, and the Apache Tomcat project. So between these three, that's a huge proportion of the legacy Java applications that are out there powering the internet right now. So let's say you're one of these big enterprises and you want to modernize your IT and move, for example, to the private or public cloud with these applications. So what are you going to do? Well, you don't want to rewrite all these applications in a new cloud native way. That's just not going to happen. You might have hundreds or thousands of these applications and you're not going to hold off on your public or private cloud project until all these things are rewritten. That's just not going to happen. So we've got to get these applications to the cloud in some way that allows us to get the benefits of the cloud, but without rewriting the whole thing from scratch in a new way. So you might look at the database that the application is using and adopt a new cloud type database technology for that that's maybe scalable, better performance, whatever it is. And you might look at the compute part where you might be running in a series of old virtual machines and say, okay, let's containerize those and look at ways that we can make that run in a more compact, more modern way. But there's a problem, and the problem is the cryptography. So you're going to move these applications to the cloud. And if they're treating sensitive customer data, particularly if you're in a regulated industry, there are going to be strict rules about how that data needs to be protected when you're working, particularly in the public cloud. But even in your own cloud, you're probably going to look at this. So that means that this data is going to have to be encrypted, both in transit and at rest. And the keys are probably going to have to be managed in a particular way. And that's going to pretend on the regulations in your industry. Quite often it will be the case that any customer data is going to have to be protected by keys which are themselves not stored inside the virtual machine or in the file system or even worse in the code. They're going to have to be protected by a proper key management system. So for example, a cloud HSM or a cloud KMS with an HSM behind it, so you've got a good guarantee of the security of that key. The problem is, you've got perhaps 1 million lines of Java. This is a legacy application that's maybe been developed over 20 years. The development team has turned over 4 or 5 times. Maybe there's been some outsourced components brought in. Maybe there are some legacy patches on particular bits that we didn't want to upgrade. So how are we going to get the cryptography out of their application, figure out how it's speaking to its cryptographic keys, and then move those keys into a cloud crypto service in a way that means that I don't have to rewrite the whole application, I don't have to fork the application framework and develop my own version of it, I'm not dependent on the vendor, if it's one of these proprietary frameworks, to rewrite that code for me to allow me to interface these things. And particularly the keys in these applications are often stored inside software key stores. So they're written to the disk or the whatever storage is available. They're protected by a credential if they're protected at all. So they might even not even be encrypted. There might just be legacy encryption there or easy to break encryption. And that credential might be floating around in the code or in a config file. So we really want to get rid of these things. Even if our regulator isn't telling us to do that, we probably want to do this just to make sure that our data really is protected in this version that's going to be in the cloud, particularly if it's going to be accessible to developers more, or some sort of DevOps pipeline is going to be in place. So I really want to make sure I'm protecting those keys. So the challenge is to find how those keys are being accessed by the application, and without rewriting the whole thing, transfer those keys into a secure key store in the cloud, and then the application I needed to carry on working just like it did before, fetching the key when it needs it and keeping that data protected. This is quite a difficult problem. Fortunately, with some new developments that we've made here at Cryptosense, we now have a solution to this problem. So we've got a demo video that will show you this working on a very simple Apache Tomcat application. So what we do is we just run the application. The Cryptosense tracer agent watches every time the application grabs hold of a key, And then you can look on the Cryptosense dashboard at all of those keys and select the ones that you want to migrate. And you can select the destination, so you can migrate it to any of the big cloud CSP services. We're adding more and more backends all the time. And Cryptosense Analyzer will take care of not just the migration, because we've seen the value of the key, we'll actually put that in the key store for you. We'll also give you an agent you can attach to your running application live, so that now instead of looking for that key in the key store, it will actually get it for you from the secure key store and then use it just as before, with no rewriting and no refactoring and no forking of the framework. None of these things are going to have to happen. It's all going to be done by the agent for you. So take a look at the video, see what you think. If you've got a legacy application you're working with, this will work not just with Tomcat, so that's the demo, but it'll work with any Java application. It doesn't matter if it's running in Weblogic or Websphere or whatever it is. If you've got a legacy crypto Java issue and you want to get some advice on that, please leave a comment here on the video, and I promise I'll get back to all of them. And we're looking forward to helping you get those applications modernized and running in the cloud.